I have a new REPL here, and inside this REPL I have my usual main.py file and also a directory, files, which if I expand, you'll see it has two other directories, December and November. If I expand December, you'll see we have two files inside December. And we also have two other files inside November. Now, in this video, what we will do is we will write a script which renames all these files that are located inside these December and November folders. So the output will be something like this. For the first file, we would have something like December as the new file name, jhi.txt, and then we would have December-jkl.txt, and then we would have November-abc.txt, and so on. So the idea is that we are renaming the files by taking the name of the folder and adding it in front of each of the files. How can we do that in Python? Well, we need the path class for that, and so again we create a root directory, which is a path object, an instance of the path class. So files is this folder. This contains all the files and folders we will be operating on, so it makes sense to have a directory as a path. And then next we create a generator, which is basically a list of all the items inside files. You're going to see when I print this out, you're going to see what these file paths contained this time. So here I'm iterating over file paths, and for now let's print out the path just to orientate yourselves to see what we're doing so far. So path was printed out 2 times, files/November, files/December. So inside files we have 2 folders, December and November. That's why we get this output. Now, to get access to the files itself, you have 2 options. The first option is to iterate now for file path in path, because path in the first iteration, path is this folder. Actually, you do .iter there. So that would give us a list of files inside the current folder, which is November. So that gives you the list of files inside November, and then you print. Actually, we do something else, but let's print it out just to see what we have. Yeah, so now we got access to each of those files, right? And then we can keep on renaming them. However, there is another more elegant way to do this, and that is by using glob instead of iter_dir. So what you do is you create the file paths using glob, and then here you insert a pattern, that and that, which basically means that you are instructing Python to go inside subfolders. So see now what we will get from that. In that case, we don't need the second loop, we don't need the nested loop, because see, if you print the path of these file paths, which we get from here, from glob, we get everything that is inside files, including the first level items, which are December and November, but also whatever is inside all these subfolders also. So we get abc.txt, def.txt, etc., etc. Whatever is inside files, no matter how deep it is inside directories, it is printed out in here. So that makes our job easier. We don't have to do nested loops, but what we do now is, first of all, check if path is file. You see this method here. You call that, and then if you print path and execute again, this time you're going to get only the file types, not only those items which are files. So not folders this time, because this is filtering that out. So isFile returns true if the current item is a file. Therefore, this is true and this is executed. So then, once we grab those files, you want to construct the new file name as a string first, and then we put it in a path. So new file name is equal to, so we said that we want to add in front of ABC, we want to add November, right? So the output would be file/november-abc.txt. But where do we get November from? So we want to get the name of the folder in which the current file is. And you can get that using path.ports. See what this outputs. So print parent folder is the variable I chose for this. Parent folder is equal to path.parts. So let's run this. And this is what parts gives us. So it gives us the path basically, but split into different items. So each item represents one level in the path. So we have the file first, the file name, and then we have the folder where this file is, and then we have the other folder where this folder is, and so on. And if we get the item with index -2, so that item, because this is a tuple, as you see with parentheses, so it has an index of -1 in here, -2 in here, -3, and we know that the item with index -1 is always the folder of the last item, and the last item is the file, so the folder is -2, that one. So now we should get November, November, December, December. And then we make use of that in our new file name string. We say parent folder, which is a string, so that is a string, plus we wanted a dash, so November dash path dot name. Alright, I think that should do it. I'm sure that will do it. So run. Yeah, I didn't do it because I forgot to add all these three strings together. That one, and that one. You could also use an F string, but I don't think that's necessary. I think this is more readable than using an F string. F strings are more for more complex string constructions. And so these will be our new file names. And that's what we wanted as file names, right? But it's just a string for now, so let's construct a path, and then we rename that path. So the new file path equals to path.with name. The name should be a string, so new file name. So the new file path will be that path, but with a new name. So basically we are creating a new path object in here, right? A new path object. And then we apply rename to the path object, that one, and we insert here new file path. So it's a path object, and this is a path object also. Don't confuse this with that string object. So run, and the files should have been renamed now. So you see this one, that, and that. And that was about this script. I've been using this script myself because when I create videos and they are split in different sections, just like we have this December, November here, I have different sections for different parts of the course. And then first I may rename them using lecture numbers, but then I upload them somewhere and I want more unique names, so I have to add the section name to each video file to get unique file names for uploading them to cloud, for example. So thank you for following this, and I'll talk to you later. See you.